There's a phrase that I've heard a couple of times in recent weeks about hoping to get back to how things were before COVID. And I understand the sentiment behind it, but I actually think totally differently. I don't want to go back to how things were before COVID. Even though they were simpler, even though we hadn't faced a terrible pandemic, even though so many people, millions of people hadn't died, of course we would never have wished for that to have happened. But we learned some really important lessons during COVID. Our community grew significantly during COVID. We changed the ways that we did things. We were creative in the ways that we led services and educational sessions. We had an extremely powerful time during COVID, even though it was extremely challenging. If we went back to how things were before COVID, then we wouldn't be able to carry those lessons of COVID with us, of the pandemic with us. And I think those lessons are really important about how communities continued to develop, how our community has continued to develop. One exciting thing that comes to my mind during COVID is the member-written liturgy that quite deliberately, to help bring everyone into the High Holy Day services, which were online only at first, quite deliberately we had members writing liturgy, which we added into the service, and it was extraordinary. It was so powerful. And my hope is to collate that liturgy and to create something for all of our members to see this exciting creativity. There's no reason why that needs to stop, now that we are back in-person services. So I don't want to go back to where we were before. I want to continue how our community has continued to develop and grow even through a terrible, terrible pandemic, which has taken millions of lives worldwide, has rendered millions of people in this country unable to even work. It's been really challenging, but during that time our community has grown, and for good reason, because we've really connected to each other in a really profound and powerful way. There are two drives in Judaism. There is a drive to return, a drive to go back to better times. The concept of Yuridot Hadorot, the decline in generations, implies that previous generations were better than us. They had a better connection with God as a result. That's why we read of these stories in the Bible of this immediate connection between humanity and God. So there is, in one part in Judaism, a drive to go backwards, a drive to return to the good old days. But there's also the opposite drive, the drive to move forward. As Kafka said, away from here, always away from here. The destination is not here, and certainly not back, but moving forward toward a messianic age, toward the total fulfillment and improvement of human society. So we carry that balance of returning and moving forward. At the same time, of course, what we need to do is take the things that were really good about our community, and there were very many things, in the past before COVID, and make sure we can bring them in today. And so it was so powerful, so wonderful to have so many people at Shabbat services last Friday. We changed the mask mandate according to the COVID response committee. We changed it to masking is optional and recommended. And it was lovely to have some people sit unmasked and some people to sit masked, and to have many more people that we've had in services for a while. As well as the oneg, which I know was a big draw for a lot of people. And seeing members sit and eat together is a really powerful, important thing. That's going back to how things were, or rather, it's bringing that which was so successful, so important, so essential for community, and bringing it into today. Our hope is absolutely to keep the onegs going. We are going to need your help. We're going to need your help not just sponsoring onegs, but also helping make them happen. Staffing onegs is a bit of a challenge. In some other communities, there is an understanding that when you join as a member, you're put on a rota, you're put on a list, and you are going to help create that oneg for that week. That's a bit much for our community, I think. But I do ask that if you are able to help set up food, to help even get food, to help set it up, and to help take the oneg down afterwards. It would be enormously helpful for us to ensure that we can keep the onegs going, which is something we really want to do because they're so important. And so we look back and we look forward. We look back not to return to how things were before COVID, but we look back to say what was good about our community before COVID that we can bring in again as COVID starts to disappear. And so we look back and we look forward. For those who have not yet returned to in-person services, I understand. For some people, it's extremely difficult. It's nerve-wracking. And I can't guarantee safety. I can't guarantee that everyone in our community is going to be totally safe if they come to our services. What I can say is that we have an extremely high percentage of members who are vaccinated and who are very careful and very much aware of the needs of others. And so if they feel unwell, they know not to come to services. But I am aware that there are some people for whom this is very difficult. And we are going to try to redo Zoom in particular. We have had some challenges with Zoom and sound, and we're going to try to work out what to do. It's going to take us a few weeks to do that. But we are holding different aspects of the community, different groups of members essentially, those who can return, those who can't yet return. And we're holding them together, not going back to how things were, but saying now we have differing groups of people with differing needs, especially as COVID is still around. And so what we're going to do is really pay attention to all these differing needs by improving our technology and also by continuing the onegs as much as possible. If you are able to help with that, please get in touch with the office and say, I would like to help set up one oneg at some point in the coming weeks or months. And then we'll be able to really return and have those who are able sit round a table and eat and get to know each other again and look in each other's eyes and see the full humanity of each other and spend time on Shabbat really being with each other. So we look back and we look forward. We look forward this weekend, hopefully to the snow stopping, and we look forward to a bar mitzvah ceremony. We look forward to Torah study, which is about Jews and tattoos, and how it's not as simple as you might think. And we also have our Introduction to Reform Judaism course on Sunday, which focuses this week on blessings, on how to create sacred moments in each and every moment of the day. There's a tradition of reciting 100 blessings per day. I'm going to share quite a lot of them on Sunday. So I hope to see you this evening, if possible, for our Kabbalat Shabbat service and for our oneg, or tomorrow for our bar mitzvah ceremony. And we encourage you to help support the young adults in our community as they become bar mitzvah. We encourage you to please come and join them and show them how much we value them being part of our community and expressing their Jewish adulthood. And we encourage you to join us for all our events, of which there are very many, and you can find them in the e-digest over the coming week. I wish you Shabbat Shalom.